All right, hello once again, Jeff Scott from Jeff Teaches Programming. In the last video that I've done, that's right here, as you can see, what I did was I started to add code where we were making a person repository. That was implementing the iPerson repository. So it needed to have an add method, it needed to have an getPeople method, it needed to have a clear method, and it needed to have an isEmpty method. Well, what we put in that last video, we put in our constructor to read the connection string from the app.config file, and we put in the add method. So as it says, we were able to add a person record. Remember, the idea here is persistence. We want this to persist so that once we log out and log back in again, we still have that. So now we're going to add the next one. So retrieve all person records from the SQL Server database. All right, that'll be a public list of iPerson, and it's not get all, it's get all people. Now I'm getting the error because we're not returning anything yet, but we're going to put that in just a minute. All right, we have some code to add first. All right, now what we want to do is we want to come in here and we're going to want to run. Again, we're going to want to basically execute what's called a reader. So we want to read everything into memory so we can read it out again. In other words, show it. Good golly, put your fingers on the right keys there. I think we're going to use the same thing we used before. Using SQL con equals new SQL connection with our connection string. All right. Now, what this is going to do is it's going to be a select. And if you remember from before, select just basically is going to give us that information. So and this will give it to us in the order in which those records were put in. Now, I didn't probably mention it well enough before, but if you look here, this allows us to insert a record into the database. This allows us to retrieve all the records from the database. All right, and as we come in here, we're going to embed one of these usings inside of another using. All right, we still aren't returning anything, which is why we're getting the error being shown up here. But we're going to rectify that in a minute. So while we have records, we don't want to call that CMD. We already used, I think we already used that. We already used the SQL connection up here, so we don't want this. So the inner one is going to be using an SQL data reader called reader equals okay, what doesn't it like here? All right, we've actually got using our SQL connection, con equals new connection with our connection string. Then string select star by date created, then using, this should be CMD. I'm getting ahead of myself here. SQL equals select star based on date created. That is correct. So let's take it from the top list. Using SQL connection con, new connection with connection string, string SQL equals select star, that's all correct. Then using, again, I jumped ahead here, so let me come up. I'm going to get some errors here. Don't worry about it. I'm going to fix them momentarily. SQL command equals new SQL command. SQL and con, that's good. All right. Open our connection. Then, like I said, we need another using. All right, and that'll be our data reader. We'll go over this all in just a second here. Okay, as you can see, I'm getting an error there, and the reason I am is I didn't put in the parentheses. There we go. Okay. And then at the end here, so outside of these using statements, I want to return people. Don't know if I need this. Oh, does look like I do. So I'm missing the curly brace. Let's take a look for that. Got the using. Got the using. Don't have the using. There we go. All right, so now what we've added here is we've added a get all people. We're going to have a list of people. All right. We're creating our connection. We're telling it to grab all records from the table and order them by date created. So it'll be in basically in ascending order. All right. Then we come in and we open the connection up and we use this execute reader. It's kind of like a fire hose. It's just basically going to go and add every record that we have in there, and then it's going to return those records. So now if you look here, we're still going to have an error, but now it's down to, it says does not implement what? It says get people. Now wait a minute, we should have that now in here. Let's do a file save all here. There's our add, and there's our get all people. Now it's giving me an error. It says we should have the iPerson repository get people. So maybe that should be get people instead of get all people. I don't know. Let's see if that now knocked us down to 2 errors. And it did. So we need a clear and we need an is empty here. All right. Now I am at 13 minutes, so hopefully I can get both of the rest of these 2 in here. So the clear will delete all records from the SQL Server database. Now this database only has one table in it, so when I say the database, it's from the table. Public void clear. And you'll notice as soon as I do that, even though there's nothing in there yet at all, now I should be down to 1 error in here. And I am. All right, just the is empty. So let's put these in. Again, we're going to have our using. SQL connection con equals new SQL connection. And it'll have our connection string. How I got that, I don't know. Okay. Now we're saying here, delete from person BMI. Since there is no where clause in here, it'll delete every record that's in there. And open the connection. And again, since it's not returning anything, we're just executing a non-query. So the only one that's left here is empty. So is empty will check whether or not the what do we call it? Person BMI table is empty. Empty. All right. So now public, it's a bool, is empty. All right. Let's fix this. Get rid of there we go. Now, this is another kind of query we ran before. It's going to be a select count star from person BMI. So if there are any records, that count is going to return more than 0. So this is a little different. I'll have to fix that. It's an execute scalar, which means we're going to only have one value that's going to be returned here. Which should make sense. And this will return whether or not the count that we just figured out here was 0 or not 0. So now what should happen is when you look here, you'll notice, come on, we have no more errors. All right, so what I'd like to do in the next lecture, because I'm already up to 20 minutes here, but what I'd like to do in the next lecture is to go over everything that we've done in here thus far. All right, and go over it so hopefully it'll make some sense to everybody. So I'll be back with that in just a couple minutes.